Level 96. So what we see on this level is this solitary crystal needs to connect to this solitary bomb and bunny. So it needs to snake down here some way while not touching any of the other zones. All right, we can start down here. Of course, has to be walls here, but this needs a path here. So you have to separate and make a path. And that will lead us. Let's see. Here, we see there has to be one more wall in this row, and this is grayed out. Now we need separation here. We still need a path. And I think this is as far as we can go here, because there are 12 walls. This could be a wall. It might not be a wall. We don't know yet. And similarly, we have pretty much the same situation up here. We need walls to separate, and we need a path out. Last one must be a wall. This must be a path. We must have separation here. The path must continue at least here. And now we see that this column has 2 more walls. One of them here and one of them here. That's something to remember for later, I think. Now this row and this row can almost be filled out, but not quite. There is another empty space or another non-wall somewhere. Could be here, and that's my guess. But of course, this is a logic bombs, not guesswork bombs. Now, we do know, of course, that these have to be separated from each other. And so, and also from this, which needs to squeeze by somehow. It needs to get past here. So let's see. It needs to be separated from this and this. The only way that can be is getting past here. And the same with this crystal. It needs to get past like that, which means path must move on. This can't be a wall. It needs to go something like this. And we don't know quite. This could be a wall. This could be a wall. We don't know. And let's see. What I can tell is that at least one of these has to be a wall. Because if not, in other words, if one of these is a wall, then this would happen. Which can't be. That tells me that all of these are empty. And therefore, we need to have a wall here. And we can continue the path and block off like this. And yeah, I think that's as far as we go for now. Now let's have a little look in this column. It has 4 walls, 2 already placed. And now the 2 remaining walls have to make separation between this one and the path of this crystal. So this is a wall, and there's another one in one of these spaces, which means this is not a wall. That means we have 3 non-walls in this row, and the rest are walls. Now, one of these is a wall. We can't quite tell which just yet. Also, I think the wall that's down here has to be either here or here. And by the way, this has to be a wall, right? Because we can't have this we need to have a path down. And this can't be it, because that would touch this bomb. That tells me there needs to be a path here and here, at least. And let's count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That means the rest of the column is walls. That should help us. That means we need to have a path here and here, and walls here and here. So now this is gray. And of course we need separation here, and we need a path. Now this is gray, and we need one more empty space here. That lets us fill out this row. The rest must be walls. And now this is gray. Good. Making progress here. This can of course not be a wall, and that should let us fill in this, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6, 7 walls. Like with these, there needs to be separation here and here. So the path must go through here. Need walls here. And then we don't quite know what happens here, except now this is gray. So these are all empty. That means we have to have walls here. And the path must go like this, and therefore we need walls. This must be the path. Right. And the same here. Only one wall must be here. So this is empty. This has to be a wall. This is empty. And I think that's it. Level 97. We can fill in this row and this one. This column. Oops. Wrong mouse button. And this column. Now this is gray. This is gray. You see the sums are equal. 1 question mark row, 1 question mark column. So the number of walls in each must be equal. Let's see, this can be filled in with walls. So can these. Now, question mark bombs are clearly not lettered or numbered. Well, I guess basically each has a hidden number. There's only one bunny, so that means one of these bombs is 1 and all the other bombs are 0. All the bombs need a path to the crystal. This can't be a wall. This can't be a wall. Now this row has 3 more walls. Those walls can't be here, because one of the walls at least has to be here. So if one or more walls here, then this cannot connect to the crystal. That tells me these 3 have to be walls. And these are not. Now, this column, the question mark column, has 3 walls. It tells me this row needs at least 3 walls. And one of these bombs needs to hit this bunny. So that tells me the 3 walls have to be here. And this bomb hits the bunny. Now this column is gray. This column can be filled in with walls. This row is gray. And now we can fill in this column. The number of walls in the question mark rows and columns have to be equal, so this is not a wall. That means the rest of this row has to be walls. That leaves these gray. And we have our solution. Level 98. Now we see something new. We see the numbers in the columns of rows. Some of them are variables. Interesting. I think we can start by separating these crystals, which neatly grays out some rows and columns. We need to have more separation. So there probably is going to be a diagonal. Let's see. That also tells us X is at least 1. It tells me this bunny cannot be hit by this bomb. See, Y also is at least 1. And now this is gray. Also need separation from this bomb here, graying out this row. And we need a wall here. So this can only be hit by this. So in other words, and it's the same here, none of the bombs are 0. So this bomb has to be connected here. There are not enough walls to separate them. It's the same here with this bomb, so there must be a wall here. There needs to be a wall here. That grays out this column. That tells us that Z equals 1. Of course, there needs to be a wall here. Now this row is gray. And we see X getting another target. That means there needs to be a wall here, and Y equals 2. Now this column is gray, and we see this bunny has to be hit by this bomb. So X equals 3, and that works out neatly. So X equals 3. Needs to be a wall here. That grays out this row. And we need a wall to separate here. This column has 3 walls, so does this row. Now these are gray. And X equals 3. So we need one more wall right here. Level 99. So there are 6 bunnies. We have a bunch of question mark bombs in addition to these bombs marked N. So this bunny can only be hit by one of these 2, and the same with this. And that tells me N equals 1. Don't know which has to hit which. But yeah, we have configuration here with 2 bombs and 2 bunnies. Yeah, so N equals 1. And if we look at this row, this N has to hit one of these. So either this or this. That means that there have to be walls here, and either 2 walls here or 2 walls here. Anyway, this is gray. And that tells me this bomb has to hit this bunny. This bomb has to hit this bunny. That lets us fill in the row here and this one. Now this is gray. And we can fill in this row with walls. One more empty space in this row. It can't be either of these spaces, because that would leave an empty space unconnected to a crystal. So these 3 are walls. That grays out this column. This can't be a wall, because that would make an unconnected space. And back to this row, like I said, 2 walls have to be here. Otherwise, this would happen and this bomb would have no targets. So it hits this. Therefore, we need a wall here to block This bunny has to be hit by this bomb. This is gray. That lets us fill in this row. And now this is gray. That means we need a wall here. That grays out this row. And we need a wall here. Now this is gray. This column is gray. This column is gray. The wall on this row needs to be one of these, so not here. This row has two walls. Now this is gray. So these two have to be walls. This is gray, and the final space has to be a wall. Level 100. Now, we see 3 bunnies and 3 X's and 3 Y's. So one of them has to be 0 and one of them has to be 1. Now if Y is 0, so we can see this row is X and these 3 rows are Y. If Y is 0, there are 0 walls in this row, and this happens. So Y cannot be 0. In other words, Y has to be 1 and X has to be 0. That means this row has 0. This has to be a wall. So does this and this. And the bunnies have to be hit. So now we can fill in this column with walls and this as well. If we look at this row, these 2 can't be walls. At least one of them is a space, an empty space. That means the rest of the row has to be walls. And that grays out this column. Now there needs to be a path for these bombs to the crystal. The gap is here somewhere. And it needs to connect these bombs to the path. Now this row can be filled in with walls. So we see there has to be a path here. And that lets us fill in this row with walls and this. Path has to continue, and that lets us fill in this row with walls. And now let's look at the sums. The difference between the sums, this is 25, this is 34. The difference is 9. And in addition to that, we have the X and the Y rows. So the X is 0, Y is 1, and we have 3 rows. That means we can add 3 to this sum. And then the difference is 37 minus 25, which is 12, which means the total number of walls in these 3 columns is 12. Right now, each of them has 4, and the sum is 12. That means the rest of these columns have to be empty. This is grayed out, so is this. This row needs 1 wall, has to be here. Now this is grayed out. This row has 1 more wall here. This row has 1 wall, so this is empty. And there are 2 more spaces, which we see have to be walls. Level 101. Now, if we look in this row, there's 1 wall, which means that all these bunnies will be hit by one of these bombs, or, yeah, which means they can't be hit by these bombs. And we have the same here, and the same here. In this column, we don't know, since there are 2 walls. Now this is gray, and this is gray. So now we see we need to have a wall here. That grays out this column. And we see we need a wall here. That grays out this row. These bunnies can only be hit by this bomb, so they have to be, and this has to be a wall. These columns can be filled in with walls. So we see this bunny has to be hit here. This is gray. So is this. Now we see we need a wall here. And this is gray. Now, one of these has to be a wall. These columns only have one wall. And one of these has to be a wall. Which means those walls have to be on opposite sides. It also means these can't be walls. This says one more wall, which has to be here. This bomb can't be boxed in, so this can't be a wall. That means this is a wall. This is grayed out now. And this has to be a wall. This is grayed out. And final space is a wall.